All right, welcome everyone. We are moving on to the another factoring method. And so this one is called factoring using difference of two squares. Most people find this is the easiest method of factoring. I think it is anyway. So difference of two squares, and you'll see why it says that. And this is another place where you might want to have that squares table if you don't know it and don't have a calculator. Knowing your perfect squares here really comes in handy. And so what you need to know, the formula basically is that if you have a squared minus b squared, notice there's your difference and there are your two squares, difference of two squares, that it factors into a plus b and a minus b. All right, that's where we're going with this. So we're going to start with example 1, and we are going to factor x squared minus 49. And we're going to break up two parentheses. X squared factors into x and x. 49 factors into 7 and 7 because it's a perfect square. And this says that they're different. So one gets a plus and one gets a minus. That's really all there is to this one. So example 2, and what I'd like to do is I'd like you to pause and then do this one. So we're going to do x squared minus 25. All right. So when we factor, pause and see if then put it back and see if you get what I get. You can push play. So this is going to be x plus 5, x minus 5. There is nothing special about the fact that I put x plus 5 first. I just do it. There's nothing special about it. All right. Now let's go with a couple that are a little more complicated. Now, when we look at example 3, I want you to factor x squared plus 16. Now, what you should notice here is that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square, except for the fact there's no minus. So this one does not factor. Okay, just wanted to put that little trick in there for you because it's always fun. Make sure you're paying attention. All right, so for the next one, let's factor one that has a coefficient of x squared that's not 1. Notice I still have perfect squares here. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to break it up into two parentheses. 9 factors into 3x, 9x squared into 3x, minus, plus, and then here's your 7. Okay? Now, keep in mind if you want to do this, 3 plus or minus the square root of 7, I'm okay with that. I don't care how you write it. Okay? Let's try this one. So example 5. We want to factor, and we want to factor 1 minus 25x squared y. So y squared. So what I've done is I put more variables in because you got to be able to work with more. Okay. So again, one of the things that usually trips people up is they get this part but they don't know what to do here. Keep in mind that 1 is a perfect everything. It's a perfect square, it's a perfect cube, it's perfect everything. So 1 factors into 1 and 1 plus and minus 5xy. 5xy. Most of you will find this one is your favorite. Now I'm going to do one more slide, and just because I always forget which number I left off. Okay, example 6. So example 6, we are going to factor 32x squared minus 18y squared. And the reason that I want you to pay attention to this one is because notice that 32 and 18 are not perfect squares. But sometimes you can factor out a common term and make it a perfect square. So this is where a lot of times you put different factoring methods together in order to factor your problem completely. So if you notice, I can factor out a 2 from both of these. And if you didn't see that, I'll show you real quick. So 2 and 16x and x. And then this is negative 2, 9y, y. Okay, and then what you see is you have the 2's in common. Okay. So what I'm going to have is I'm going to have the 2 times 16x squared minus 9y squared. Well, if you notice, now I have a difference of two squares. So what I want to do is I want to leave the 2 out front, and please don't forget that because I will take off if you don't. And then here are your two parentheses. So 4x plus 3y, and then 4x minus 3y. And it's factored. So there you go. This is probably the easy one that most of you will have no problem with. And so I will see you on the next one.